Welcome back. This is Metal Mike, and our column today, it's called the Metal Matrix Part 2. Now, if you remember our previous Metal Matrix column, we had a really well put together melodic examples that pretty much stayed on the particular string sets. Okay, so for today's column, Part 2, we are going to open up our chords and use a lot more strings while still maintaining melodic sensibilities in our metal tricks. So check it out. Okay, so let me show you a little bit of what's happening in this particular riff. I start this basically example, it's almost like a E minor shape, and I add the top note to it. So it's basically, I think of it as a huge E minor chord. And then I move it down to a C chord, and I basically play like a C power chord with the top two strings open. So it gives you this real big open sound. And I move it up to like an F major area. It's a really cool, dense chord, and you have this F major, F and a major third, and I basically put an octave in there, and I just play those three notes. And the next chord that I move after this is a B, but I only play the octave of B, another B, and this string right there, the fourth string, is muted. So you have. So you hear, it's funny because the tip of my first finger mutes the bottom E, but I still hit the E. So you hear that. So there's a lot of happening in there stylistically and musically. Right, so you already got a lot going on. And the next part is really cool. You get these very straight 16th notes right at the bottom string goes. And I move up to the A string for the D and C. So now notice when I play those single notes, I really open up. There's no muting. I want those. It's funny because when I play riffs, I imagine like animals. I know it sounds interesting, but this is almost like a piranha sound. And I get really tight and dense after this open part into, again, that F. Right? And I move back to B chord, except I don't play the octaves anymore. I play this real dense B chord. And if you think about it, it's basically a B power chord with the fifth in the root. So instead of playing this, I'm playing. See, so sounds big, but at the same time, it sounds very dense. And we've talked about some of these chords in our previous Metal for Life columns. All right, so that's basically the first part of the riff. Now the second part is it's a complete change right here. It's a very fast single note riff, at least the beginning of it, that bounces really quickly off of your 6th string. All right, and you have quite a changeover on your hand, because when you go from your last B chord, which is right, so really quickly you get really tight, really precise, and you have to execute those notes. All right, so watch that transition when you practice this riff. Okay, so for the next part of this example, let me show you what's happening here. This is a bunch of single note motifs. Right, so just this is all on the A string, single note travel notes. And then I have a chord change. And you will notice that sometimes I don't move the exact C to the B. I cheat and I play. Right, so it's cool. Instead of going, I go. And it's almost got a little dirt in there. And again, when you try to paint with your riffs, you look to throw things like that in there to kind of psych out the ear, so the ear just doesn't hear these, straight power chord movements, right? So when you go back now to the beginning of the single note motif fast riff, you have a little bit of a chromatic type sound. Right? I love this kind of change because it's a little bit unorthodox. That's the riff. Good luck.